Hello, CP Pre-Calc. What we're going to do today is we're going to review some additional concepts that will help you prepare to complete your quiz, which is due tomorrow, Wednesday, March 25th at 8 p.m. at night. So I'm going over some strategies that will help you with the problems that are on the quiz. So the first review problem that I am going to go over is going to be it's going to be the quantity of cosecant theta minus 1 times the quantity of cosecant theta plus 1. And that's going to equal cotangent squared theta. So now what I need to do is I need to decide which side of my trig identity I'm going to work with. And I usually work with my left if it's easier, and in this case it is. What I have here on my left is I have two binomials. All right, and I want to simplify it to just a cotangent squared theta. So one of the strategies that we can do, if we have two binomials and we want to condense it, we're going to multiply those two binomials, utilizing the distributive property or the term that you like to call foiling. And when I multiply this, cosecant theta times cosecant theta would be cosecant theta squared. Cosecant theta times positive 1 is cosecant theta. Negative 1 times cosecant theta is negative cosecant theta. Negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1. Now by looking at that, what we're going to see is your cosecant thetas cancel out. So you have cosecant squared theta minus 1 is left. And whenever we see a trig function squared and a 1, we're going to look at our identities. And I see cosecant squared theta minus 1 is equivalent to cotangent squared theta. And we are verified. Okay, guys, take a look at our next problem. If I take a look at my next problem, I have 1 over sine squared theta minus 1 equals cotangent squared theta. This 1 over sine squared, right off the bat, I know that if I see a 1 over a trig function, I can rewrite it. Now look at that. 1 over sine theta is equivalent to cosecant theta. So therefore, 1 over sine squared theta would be equivalent to cosecant squared theta minus 1. And again, guys, using those Pythagorean identities, cosecant squared theta minus 1 is equivalent to cotangent squared theta, and we are verified. All right, guys? 2 of our review problems. All right, guys, let's take a look at another one. So if I take another review problem, all right. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at secant to the 4th theta minus secant squared theta, and we want to write it in terms of tangent to the 4th theta plus tangent squared theta. So guys, let's take a look at that. If I want to take a look at that, what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to work with my left. And when I work my left, again, we always try to look for factoring first. And if I take a look at this, I can see it has a GCF of secant squared theta. Once I see that, I know, what do I have left? I have secant squared theta minus 1. Now we want to rewrite everything in terms of tan, and we see everything now in terms of secant. So if you want tan squared as opposed to secant squared, we're going to go again to our trig identities. Secant squared minus 1, what I'm going to do is take that value, and what am I going to plug in for it? I am going to plug in tan squared theta. And if I look here, and I have secant squared theta, what can I plug in for secant squared theta? Well, look down here. Secant squared theta is the same as 1 plus tan squared theta. So I'm going to input in 1 plus tan squared theta. Now let's distribute. If I distribute this tan squared, I'm getting tan squared times tan squared, which is tan to the 4th theta, plus tan squared times 1 is tan squared theta, and I am verified. My left looks exactly like my right. Alright. Okay, let's try another problem. I have secant theta minus tan theta equals 1 minus sine theta over cosine. Now again, if we're looking at our left, secant and tan, I don't have a common factor right now that I see. But I do notice that I want to change secant and tan to an expression that has only sine and cosine. So the strategy that would work best for this problem is to rewrite secant and tangent in terms of sine and cosine. So if I go over here and I say secant is 1 over cosine, so I'm going to write 1 over cosine. Tangent is sine over cosine, so I'm going to rewrite that to sine theta over cosine theta. Now this worked out nicely because my denominators are exactly the same. And when our denominators are exactly the same, we can combine our numerators. So it would be 1 minus sine theta over the common denominator of cosine theta, which is exactly what I wanted on my right, and I am verified. All right, guys, good job. All right, guys, I have one more that I want to go over with you. One more. So let's try this last one. All right, guys, one more. So the last one that we're going to go over, number 5, is sine plus cosine cotangent equals cosecant. And again, guys, what we're going to do first is I need to somehow simplify this. So the first thing I'm going to do is write everything in terms of sine and cosine. And that cotangent, if I look here, my cotangent is cosine over sine. So I can simplify this. On this side, I have sine theta plus. Here, I have cosine times cosine, because remember, this cosine's over 1. I have cosine squared theta over sine theta. Now, I want to somehow combine this to one term. Now, let's remember, this sine theta is technically over 1. To get a common denominator, and in this case, the common denominator would be, I'd have to somehow get everything to be just sine theta. That means I would have to multiply. If I wanted a sine theta in my denominator down here, I'd have to multiply my numerator by sine theta too. Now, if you look at this, sine theta times sine theta is sine squared theta all over sine theta plus cosine squared theta over sine theta. Now, if I look at that, that's sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta all over sine theta. Wait a minute. What is sine squared plus cosine squared? Let's look. If I look at here, sine squared plus cosine squared is equivalent to 1. So I have 1 over sine theta, which would also be cosecant theta, and that would be verified. All right, guys, I hope that helps you as you look at the strategies that we use today when you are taking your quiz. If you have any questions, please come to my office hours today or tomorrow. Any last-minute questions on your quiz? And again, please work with each other. You can work with each other, help each other out, conference each other, but please learn the process as you're doing so. All right, guys, I hope you're having a great day, and please reach out to me during my office hours. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.